Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and we are coming live from the Worldwide Technology Raceway. It is race number 12, the season finale here for the 2024 A Warriors for Peace Indycar Series. Tonight, again, we are at the Worldwide Technology Raceway for the Indycar 1909.com 500. I am Derek Vance, and joining me up here in the booth is Nick Massey as well. 2024 A Series will mark the ninth time that the Warriors for Peace IndyCar Series has visited the Worldwide Technology Raceway. The IndyCar 1909.com 500 will be the 82nd race in the series history. And like I said, we are coming live here on the Elite Racing Network, and joining me, like I said, up in the booth for this 12th and final race of this IndyCar Series season is Nick Massey. And Nick, what a interesting race that we have in store for everyone, as we are going to be crowning a new IndyCar Series champion in just a few laps from now, as Jason Brophy, the rookie, has a 28-point lead on Adriano Pinero. So it is a two-horse race here in this final race here in the season, Nick.
Yeah, and tonight is actually double points. So, Jason Brophy comes in with a 28-point lead over Pinero, like you mentioned. So not all locked in for Jason Brophy quite yet. He's got to get through 268 laps here, Worldwide Technology Raceway. So, the championship's still up for grabs, and a lot of these guys back here, it's tight points battle all the way back through 10th or 15th or so. So a lot of these guys are trying to get all the points they can tonight.
Yes, they absolutely are. Let's look at the field. We'll do a full field rundown here as the pace car is putting in the pace laps here before we get this 260-lap, 325-mile race underway. Sitting in the pole position this evening, the boss, Chad Frankenfield, there in the number 15 Little Eagle Racing Machine. And then alongside him is Nick Sudik, the 22 Team Watson Racing as well. And third spot, one of those championship contenders there, Adriano Pinero in the number 56 machine. Starting alongside him, Gavin Hibbs in the number 95 machine. As the pace car is off of the track, and we are now underway as Chad Frankenfield is leading the point, followed by Nicholas Sudik, Adriano Pinero, Hobbs, and Smith there round out your top five. Like I said, we're going to go 248 laps, of not the 260 that I first mentioned here. We're going to have some exciting racing there. Adriano Pinero goes to second, trying to go for the point to try to get around. Excuse me there. Adriano Pinero moves up to second as he is right behind there. Chad Frankenfield just short of a second lead there, as you see the scoring pylon there on the left-hand side. Chad Frankenfield trying to pick up the win in this last race here, this season finale. Speaking of Chad Frankenfield, you look at the all-time series statistics heading into Worldwide Technology Raceway and starts. You see the man at the point right there, Chad Frankenfield, has the most starts here with now 82 starts, and Adriano Pinero behind him, slightly behind him, with 61. But where Adriano Pinero knows how to get around this place in career polling here at Worldwide Technology Raceway, Adriano Pinero has the lead so far in that category by leaps and bounds. He has 21 series poles here at the Worldwide Technology Raceways. We are on lap 5. Chad Frankenfield has been the leader through these first 5 laps. Obviously, we're going to be watching how the finishes are between Adriano Pinero and the points leader currently, Jason Brophy. As Nick pointed out there, this is double points. So Pinero just 28 behind could obviously steal the victory. Not only the victory, but the points championship away from Jason Brophy. As you see right now, Adriano Pinero is second right behind Chad Frankenfield. And you go down the scoring pile there a little bit, Nick, and you see the rookie there, Jason Brophy, in 10th. So obviously that doesn't bode well right now for Jason Brophy. I know we're early in this race, but I think he would feel better, obviously, if he can get behind, or get in front of, rather, Adriano Pinero and kind of hold that position, keep his nose clean. He wants to finish the race, because if he was to somehow wreck or have a mechanical failure of some sort, he's obviously, Nick, will hand over the points championship there, the season points championship, to Adriano Pinero.
Yeah, we saw Chad Frankfield get that good jump off the initial start, and Pinero's totally reeling him back in here. So see if Chad's gonna be able to keep the tires on that thing, or Pinero's gonna kind of get the best of him here. But it looks like so far a little bit of passing off the start, but it looks like it's gonna be a little difficult to pass tonight.
Yeah, great jump, as you just alluded to there, Nick, by Chad Frankenfield. So Adriano Pinero is obviously going to have his hands full there, trying to reel Chad Frankenfield in. Just going through some of the statistics, rather. Adriano Pinero, he has a lot of top 5s here in this history of racing here, 36. And then also, too, he knows how to finish consistently in the top 10 as well. Adriano Pinero, 42 top 10 finishes. And then you look at laps completed. He knows his way around this track oh so well. He is third in total laps completed, with just under 10,000 at 9,556. And Chad Frankenfield actually sits in second. He's got a huge lead on laps completed, just like he does here in the race on lap 11. Frankenfield has completed here at Worldwide Technology Raceway 14,167 laps. So, the two competitors, two drivers up there at the front, Nick, definitely know how to find their way around this racetrack here. As you run down the top 5 here real quick. Again, Chad Frankenfield, Adriano Pinero, Nicholas Sudik, Gavin Hobbs, and Ethan Stanley are your top 5. We are at lap 12 of 248. Again, this is the season finale. We're going to crown a series champion here, and it's really a 2-horse race, or I guess 2-driver race, I guess is how we should say it, between current second position there, Adriano Pinero, and then Jason Brophy, who is in the top 10 in the 10th position. Been really impressed with both of their driving skills this year. Not surprised that the points race is as tight as it is, but we're going to see tonight which driver is going to have the will to hold to either Jason Brophy. Can he hold off Adriano Pinero and capture that elusive title, or will Adriano Pinero do what he's done all year? And when the money is on the line, Adriano Pinero is at his best. We will see here in just a few laps, well, maybe more than a few, but I think you get the drift. There is a lot of single file racing here at Worldwide Technology Raceway, right outside of St. Louis, and where those the illustrious, rather, I guess I should say, arch is located. I do believe you can see that from the Worldwide Technology Raceway track as we are at lap 15. Again, no change there up in the front. Actually, I take that back. Is Ethan Stanley? He fell to sixth rather, and passed by Smith, but Stanley gets that position back. So again, no change there in the top five. Leading the point right there, Chad Frankenfield, followed by Adriano Pinero, Nicholas Sudik in third, Gavin Hibbs in fourth, and Ethan Stanley in fifth. While we're on the topic of sponsors, and I know, like I said, this has been a great season here as we're at the season finale. Let's not forget, Nick, all of the series sponsors here that make it possible for us to bring not only this great series, but all of the great series that are broadcast on the Elite Racing Network. First and foremost, huge thank you goes out to Warriors for Peace. Warriors for Peace is a foundation promoting peaceful change in the world to honor the beautiful life of Jack Shockley. Check out warriorsforpeace.org for more information today. Also, too, a huge thank you to our premium partners. First, Blue Egg Marketing. Some phases you can read during. That's not what I meant to read, folks. But Blue Egg Marketing, the marketing department for small businesses. We're your marketing department. Small business owners, Blue Egg rather, is your biggest fan. Constraints, catalyze creativity. Try doing that 5 times fast. We help businesses punch above their weight class. Also, too, a huge thank you again where we're at this evening to Worldwide Technology Raceway. The Worldwide Technology Raceway, formerly known as the Gateway International Raceway and Motorsports Park, is a motorsports racing facility in Madison, Illinois, just east of St. Louis, Missouri, and close to, as I mentioned, the Golden Gateway Arch. It features a 1,250 mile oval. Or excuse me, no, wow, 1.25, there we go, mile oval that hosts NASCAR Cup Series, NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, and the NTT Indycar Series. Also a 2-mile infield road course used by Speed Tour Trans Am, SCCA, and Porsche Club of America. A quarter-mile NHRA-sanctioned drag strip that hosts the annual NHRA Camping World Series drag racing, Midwest Nationals event, and the Kartplex, a state-of-the-art karting facility. So any type of racing you're into, definitely get out and check out the fine facilities here at the Worldwide Technology Raceway. And then the race sponsor, huge thank you to them, Indycar1909.com. Indycar1909.com, past, present, and future. So a huge thank you to everyone involved, the sponsors, premium sponsors, and race sponsors, for everything that you guys have done this year for the 2024 Warriors for Peace IndyCar Series. Getting back to the action here, hot on the track. We are at lap 24 of 248. And again, so far, Chad Frankenfield, who started on point, is still leading the pack there. He has opened up to a 0.3 second lead over second place Adriano Pinero, who is in contention to win the series championship tonight. Following Adriano Pinero, is Nicholas Sudik, Gavin Hibbs, and Ethan Stanley round out your top 5. The current points leader, who is trying to hold on to that points lead this evening is Jason Brophy. He is currently in ninth. So a lot of single file racing here, Nick, so far. And Adriano Pinero doing exactly what he needs to do. Stay ahead of Jason Brophy. You see Jason Brophy slip down to P9 and keep his nose clean and try to finish ahead of Brophy so he's able to collect those double points, which hopefully for his sake will get him across the finish line this evening.
Yeah, and Jason Brophy did come home the winner last week at Texas Motor Speedway, and you weren't there for that, Derek, but that was an action-packed race. A lot of free wide racing, all packed up. And Jason Brophy didn't have the best start to that race either. He's kind of in the same position he is now, just kind of riding back there, tailing to the top 10, taking his time, and then at the end of the night when money was on the line, he showed up and was able to come home with the win. So we'll see if he's going to be able to do the same thing tonight. But already almost 6 seconds behind our leader, Chad Frankenfield, and only 28 laps into this one. So, and I expect to, we had a lot more cars last week at Texas. Here only 21 on track currently. So this could be a race of long green flag runs. So this could get pretty spread out pretty quickly. Some guys working their way forward, but I think it's going to be tougher to work your way forward tonight than it was last week at Texas.
Yeah, Texas definitely a great track for a great oval track for running wide open. I know I've done that in a sim on the video game system that I have. Obviously, I know it's not nothing that we deal with here in iRacing, but yeah, Texas Motor Speedway, great, like I said, wide open track there. Plenty of room, as you said, to go 3 and 4 wide. Glad to see that race was, exciting and fun-filled for everyone last week. Yeah, I went. I had a prior obligation. I went to Ohio to see the parents, and then I had a golf outing on Saturday, and then left from the golf outing to go cover on the Push to Pass podcast, the NTT IndyCar series race up there in the streets of Detroit. So just because I wasn't here doesn't mean I obviously wasn't busy. Definitely a busy weekend, not only last weekend but coming up this weekend with the NTT IndyCar series making its way to the Cheesehead State there in Wisconsin and Road America. Can't wait to see that. Never been there in person, but it does make for some exciting racing indeed. Looking at the track lap leaders historically here at Worldwide Technology Raceway, Henry Bennett. I don't know how many people are familiar with Henry Bennett, but he is actually the current lap leader for the series at this track here with 365 laps led. Now, if Adriano Pinero can find some way to get to the point there and is able to hold it for about 15 or so laps, he will actually pass Henry Bennett for first place there, all-time laps led here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. So that's something else to keep an eye on here as we're at lap 35 of 248 again. Chad Frankenfield, if you just tuned in, was on the pole, and Nick did mention what a start Chad has had to the race so far. He is still the top dog there in the pole first position, and then Adriano Pinero, who's just riding there, steady Eddie. They're trying to reel in a series championship, is currently P2. And then you have Gavin Hibbs right behind him in P3. Nicholas Sudik up to P4, and Ethan Stanley rounds out your top 5. Someone else we're keeping an eye on is the points leader. Right now, it is Jason Brophy, who is currently in ninth. So it's going to be interesting to see if there's no movement between Adriano Pinero and Jason Brophy, and Adriano Pinero is able to keep the distance that he has so far in these first 37 laps between him and Jason Brophy, Nick. If that's going to be enough, as you said, this is a double points race. So would that be enough for Adriano Pinero to reel in that series championship here when we drop the checkered flag?
Yeah, this one could come down to the wire, like you said. It's gonna be interesting to see how this shakes out, and got a good battle going on here for the fourth spot here. We see Nicholas Udick kind of started P2 and kind of slowly falling back in the clutches of Ethan Stanley, Hunter Smith, Tyler Fody, and Craig Forsyth now as they all look to make their way forward. But a couple of these guys may be losing the handling of the car, not quite being able to stay on top of the weight jacker perhaps, but looks like a lot of these guys are opting to run kind of all over the place. A lot of guys running high, some guys running low, try to get out of dirty air. See Ethan Stanley have a little moment there at turn 2. And starting to have some comers and goers.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, we are racing this at night, so conditions, they may change here or steadily change over these laps here with just 40 of 248 to go this evening. Taking a look at the points, that's obviously a huge storyline coming in to this race. Like we said, it is at the top there. It is a 2-driver race for the points championship. Jason Brophy, who is currently your points leader, just by the slimmest of margins, though, 28 points behind second place Adriano Pinero, and then it's Ethan Stanley, Tyler Fody, and Nicholas Sudik round out the top 5. Then it's Eric Troiano, Butch Davis, Jared Rexing, Victor Del Porta, and Chad Frankenfield round out your top 10 in points. So, obviously it's awful tough for anybody behind Adriano Pinero to catch either him or Jason Brophy at this point. And if you're wondering, well, why would you say that? Well, Jason Brophy currently holds a 28 point lead over Adriano Pinero, and then next Ethan Stanley. Ethan Stanley is currently 129 points behind Jason Brophy, so that is exactly why I think it's going to be tough, obviously, for anybody behind Adriano Pinero to catch either him or Jason Brophy this evening, no matter if it's double points or not. Comparing the seasons that both Jason Brophy and Adriano Pinero have had, really they almost identical, are a splitting image of each other or mirror each other. They both have 4 wins this year, and they've also both have 3 poles. So a lot of consistency there at the top between Jason Brophy and Adriano Pinero, and it shows over a 11 race schedule because obviously those are the only 2 eligible this evening to win the points championship. Getting back to the action on the track, Nick, a lot of single file, nose to tail racing here. You do see a little bit of racing going on right there, but other than that, the top 5 again still remain the same. Chad Frankenfield, who started this race on point, is still your race leader. He holds a 0.4-second lead over second place Adriano Pinero, and then following him is Gavin Hibbs, Nicholas Sudik, Ethan Stanley round out your top 5. Then it is Tyler Fody, Butch Smith, Forsyth, and then points leader Jason Brophy is 9th, and Jared Rexing there round out your top 10. As you see where the cars are currently located there on the track. And again, a lot of single file, nose to tail racing here so far through the first 47 laps. Hopefully, when we start getting close to money time there, as we like to say, we'll see a lot of movement. But right now, just a lot of nose and tails. We do see our first taker, Nick, into the pits, and it is Chad Frankenfield in the number 15 Little Eagle Racing Machine. So the race leader is giving up the lead there to Adriano Pinero. He's going to be in for his first stop for service. So Chad Frankenfield, does this surprise you a little bit, Nick, coming in before anyone else does, or is he just setting the pace?
Yeah, I'm kind of a little surprised. I'm not sure. It didn't look like the fall off was too bad. So maybe Chad playing the short pick game here, but yeah, it's a little odd to see the leader kind of set the pace here. Usually it's one of the guys running back, somewhere in the top 5 that kind of sets the tone on when people are going to pit. But Yeah, I was just about to say, I didn't get a chance to talk to anybody before the race to see what the fuel windows are, but it looks like it's about 50 laps as we see Ethan Stanley, Nicholas Sudik come down, Gavin Hibbs, a bunch of guys. So it looks like Chad kind of was the Pied Piper and brought everybody down pit lane.
Yeah, just looking at that there, I've got it marked down as Chad Frankenfield, the race leader, coming in at lap 48. So, 3 stops would make it 144 laps. 48 times 4 is 192. So, going to kind of curious to see what that window is. But it looks like Chad Frankenfield right now can go about 48 laps or so before he needs to add gas and get some new tread there on the tires. So I would imagine this is probably going to be a 3-stopper, maybe 4, depending on what kind of strategy Chad is on. But yep, he was the first one to come in. Everyone else now is coming in. As you see the timing and scoring there on the left-hand side, Chad Frankenfield has found his way back up to 5th position. Or excuse me, 10th position rather. As you see Adriano Pinero giving up the lead. He's going to come in to the pit, so that's going to turn the lead over to the current points leader, Jason Brophy. Jason's got to love that, so you can get those bonus points because with the points lead as tight as it is, Nick, every little point obviously is going to count towards the championship.
Yeah, crucial bonus points to get him anytime you can. And we kind of saw this last week at Texas. Jason Brophy kind of saved fuel at certain points of the night, and they would kind of play the strategy game a little bit towards the end and work his way up there. So we'll see if that works out for him tonight, running those extra few couple laps. It'll allow him to take a little less fuel at a later pit stop.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be, like I said, interesting to see how all of this, how all of these pit strategies work out. But Jason Brophy, who was the race leader, turns it back over as the field shuffles back through on their first of a handful, maybe half a handful of stops this evening. As we see Chad Frankenfield now back up to the point, followed by Adriano Pinero, Gavin Hibbs, Ethan Stanley, and Nicholas Sudik there. Round out your top 5. Jason Brophy was able to get some track position as well. I know he was flirting between the 9th and 10th position. Did get out and lead a lap officially, I believe, and he is now down to 7th. So up 2 spots there. Up 3 spots now is Jason Brophy to 5th. So Adriano Pinero's got to be doing a lot of mirror driving there because he wants to try to distance himself as much as possible between him and Jason Brophy if Pinero has any dreams this evening of capturing that series championship. We are at lap 57 of 248, and Chad Frankenfield has been the master of the class so far for the first 57 laps. He's led all of them except, I think, between 2 and 3 when he was in for his first scheduled stops. So a good run this evening for Chad Frankenfield. Hopefully he is able to get a little bit of momentum going into the off season here with this win at Worldwide Technology Raceways. We are now on board with the second place machine there of Adriano Pinero as he's going to take that high line just to see what is there. He's going to dive it back down to the bottom of the track there. Try to get as close as you can to that white line as he's going to drive the high line again. They're looking to set up on this pass here. Just not going to be able to quite get enough coming out of the turn, so he's going to fall back in line to P2. As you see, if you are new to IndyCar, that is what the view looks like from the inside, the cockpit, as they say, of these IndyCar machines, these Dallara machines here. Hands, and that's one thing I've talked about when it comes to Adriano Pinero that I'm so impressed with, is just how steady how steady his hands are on that wheel as he is going to try to get around Chad Frankenfield, but Chad's just not going to quite have anything of it as he slams the door. Panero's got to back out just a little bit. He's back into P2, but Nick, you see how close Adriano Panero can get there. That's not the last time, I don't think, that Chad Frankenfield is going to have to defend his position. As you see Adriano Panero there getting that nose cone tucked in as close as he can to the back of Chad Frankenfield coming down the straightaway. He took a peek to the inside. Now is Panero going to try to hold the line? No, he's not. He's going to have to back out just a hair. Going to give Chad Frankenfield the lead still. But Chad Frankenfield, Nick, has a rear view mirror full of Adriano Panero.
And like you said, I don't think Panero is going to give up anytime soon. I think Chad's going to have his hands full here. Panero until one of them slips up. I think Panero's going to keep that pressure on for sure. He ran him back down after pit stops. He came out of the pits about a second behind him and goes up within a couple laps. So Panero maybe figure something out that first run that he can apply to the second run. See if he can get by that 15 machine of Chad Frankenfield.
You know, you brought something interesting up that I'm gonna talk about here. You know, we said this evening we're going to be crowning a new champion of the series. Adriano Panero is going to have to be patient. If he does want to ultimately pass Chad Frankenfield, as he's attempted here the last few laps, just getting a little closer and closer, but just not having enough oomph in the car right now to get around Chad, as Chad's got to defend that P1 position really hard as Panero dives to the inside of the turn and looks like he does. No, he does not yet. I thought he was going to clear Frankenfield, but Chad again holding that position as he's able to get back out in front. Adriano Panero's got to be very vigilant here because if he makes a mistake and puts himself into the wall or puts both of these machines into the wall, he can kiss that championship goodbye. So a lot of things got to be going through Adriano Panero's mind right now as he's just sitting there in P2 trying to set up Chad Frankenfield, as Frankenfield's going to dive to the inside. He's going to hold that inside line. Panero still can't quite pull right close up to beside Chad Frankenfield as we cross the line at lap 67. Panero going to take that high line. Again, Chad Frankenfield able to pull away from Adriano Panero down the backstretch, but it does look like Adriano Panero can catch Chad Frankenfield in the corners, but he just doesn't have enough oomph right now in that car coming out of the corner, Nick, to make the pass. You see Frankenfield here putting a little bit of distance between him and Panero.
Yeah, and you mentioned Panero maybe being a little more cautious here, but I'm kind of thinking on the opposite foot. I think you look at that points gap from Panero to third place, which is Ethan Stanley. It's about 100 points. So the worst he can really do is finish second in the standings. So he might be thinking the other way. He might be thinking, I'm just going to go for it. The worst I can finish is second in the standings. He might be willing to take a little more risk here.
Well, it could turn into one of those things, high risk, high reward. As we do see here on the screen, it is a 2-car breakaway at this point. Chad Frankenfield holds a 1/10 of a second lead over Adriano Panero, and then back to Ethan Stanley in third as we see Panero getting to the inside. Can he get by Chad Frankenfield this time? Chad trying to slam the door shut as Panero pulls up alongside Chad Frankenfield as he raced down on the corner. A little bit of touch there. Good driving by both drivers as we get a drag race down the front stretch. Chad Frankenfield again is able to withstand the onslaught that is Adriano Panero as we go down into turn 1, and Frankenfield again able to slam the door shut on Adriano Panero. And another thing that you have to think about here, especially when it comes to fuel strategy, as hard as Adriano Panero is going to try to pass Chad Frankenfield, how much fuel is Adriano Panero burning as you see him dive to the inside, going to try to get around Chad Frankenfield this time. Can he do it? Chad's going to pull up on the outside And still, Chad Frankenfield is able to hold his position, slam the door shut, and that's more fuel Adriano Pinero has had to burn here trying to get around Chad Frankenfield.
Yeah, I agree. You saw him fall back a little bit, maybe cool the tires, switch the fuel map, but cooled his tires or his jets, whatever it may be, and taking another charge at it is Pinero. He drops back a little bit, maybe looking to get another run, another shot at Chad Frankenfield here.
Yeah, what an exciting race for the lead that we have up here in the front. It's a two-car breakaway between Chad Frankenfield and Adriano Pinero. That is what we've been watching here for the last handful of laps. Lap 74, Pinero dives to the inside, trying to get around Frankenfield. Thought they touched, but Frankenfield's able to hold him off again down the backstretch. So Frankenfield doing every defensive tactic that is known to man to try to keep Adriano Pinero at bay, and so far it's worked for Frankenfield as he is the leader at lap 75 of 248. You are watching the Indycar 1909.com 500 live from Worldwide Technology Raceway in Madison, Illinois, just minutes from St. Louis and that famous archway that sits in St. Louis, Missouri. But what a battle that we have up front here with Chad Frankenfield, Adriano Pinero, and you look back towards the field, and single file. They're trying to stay single file as we see Chad Frankenfield going to pass his first, or put that first machine a lap down, and I was kind of curious to see how Chad's car was going to react to the dirty air, but he just went around that machine like they were standing still. So Frankenfield still holding court there at the point, but Adriano Pinero doing everything within his power, within what the car can do to try to get around Chad Frankenfield. But Pinero right now just can't quite put the move on Chad Frankenfield as we're completing lap 77 there, and Chad Frankenfield showing the way again. Two-driver race right now at the front for Chad Frankenfield, Adriano Pinero, and then you got to go all the way back almost 5 seconds to find third place Ethan Stanley. Gavin Hibbs is fourth, and rookie Jason Brophy is fifth. So if you're a Jason Brophy fan, you definitely got to love the run that he has had so far, coming from the top 10 right now in fifth. And I would imagine, Nick, if Jason Brophy can finish within 2 or 3 positions of Adriano Pinero, that ought to give him enough points, I would imagine, to hold that title, but it's going to be close.
Yeah, I agree. And Jason Brophy having kind of a quiet night. Started 10th and just kind of hanging in there, slowly clawing his way up, cracked the top 5, and looks like some speed in that thing. We talked about him being 6 seconds back before, dropped to about 7 or so, passing all those cars, and goes back up to 6. So maybe find a little bit of speed in that 88. He's trying to work his way up towards the front. But you mentioned the battle up here towards the front. I think, like you brought up, I think Adriano Pinero might have used up about everything he can do in his arsenal against trying to pass Chad Frankenfield, because I don't think Chad's going to let him have that outside line. So like you mentioned, I think really the only opportunity left for Pinero to pass Chad, if Chad slips up, or a situation like we saw a couple laps ago with Chad passing a lap car.
Yeah, to Chad's credit, so far, like I said, I know we're only at lap 82, but he has done a tremendous job defending that position in every attempt Adriano Pinero has made so far to take the lead from him. Chad has been there every step of the way to defend that, and we're talking about the consistent drive so far for Jason Brophy, and I didn't want to forget this point. We're watching what Jason Brophy has done, and again, I know we're only at lap 83, but he has just slowly picked his way through the field, first to crack the top 10, and now he is right there in the top 5. He reminds me a lot of the drive that last week's race winner on the NTT IndyCar Series, Scott Dixon, did He didn't get a great starting position at Detroit, but he was able just to slowly pick his way through the field as we see Chad Frankenfield coming up on another lap machine. So we'll get to see another chance as to how Chad's car responds in dirty air. But Scott Dixon was able just slowly but surely, steady, to pick his way through the field and eventually hit on the right pit strategy. And for people to pay attention to the NTT IndyCar Series, the Iceman Scott Dixon was able to pick up the victory. So that's the drive that Jason Brophy reminds me of this evening, is what Scott Dixon accomplished just 1 week ago there in Detroit. But we are at lap 86 of 248 here at the IndyCar 1909.com 500, and the field rundown looks like this. At the point, as he has been for the majority of the race, Chad Frankenfield, followed by Adriano Pinero, Ethan Stanley up to 3, Gavin Hibbs 4th, and Jason Brophy round out the top 5. Then it is Nicholas Sudik, Logan Forsythe, Butch Smith, Tyler Fode, and Jared Rexing round out your top 10. So, you look back towards the back of the field, Nick, and like I said, just single file, nose to tail, the most exciting racing I think the people are seeing at home here this evening obviously has to be coming from the front there in a battle for first place between Chad Frankenfield and points contender Adriano Pinero.
Yeah, they're kind of in a zip code of their own for the time being, and it's kind of a battle here for third to sixth or so. Yeah, those guys are just driven away. It's kind of impressive how much better they've been so far than the rest of these guys. You expect to also be up there. Guys like Ethan Stanley and Brophy and some of our championship leaders.
Yeah, obviously, you look at the leaderboard there as we did a rundown of the top 10, and a lot of those names for people that tune in to not only this series but other series that are ran and broadcast here on the Elite Racing Network. And some of those names that I just rattled off there that you see on the left-hand side of your timing and scoring chart are names that are synonymous with sim racing, as we see we see Chad Frankenfield again coming up on another lapped car there. Well, maybe not. It was a different car. Sorry about that. But Chad Frankenfield now has kind of opened up a little bit of a bigger lead there on Adriano Pinero. We were back to it just a few seconds ago, and Pinero is right on the wing of Chad Frankenfield, but now you see the lead that Chad has opened up just a little bit there on Pinero. But yeah, you see those names that you're familiar with, and not only this series but other series on the Elite Racing Network. So what talented drivers that Chad Frankenfield has surrounded himself with, not only on this series but the other series on the Elite Racing Network. We are at lap 92 of 248, and I know Chad Frankenfield did come in around lap 48 for service, so I would imagine here, Nick, in the next probably, 5 to 10 laps, if Chad is still in the race lead, I'm not going to be surprised if you see him coming down pit road to be the first taker in the second round of pit stops.
Yeah, going to be coming up real soon, and it looks like Ethan Stanley and Gavin Hibbs and some of these guys are starting to close in on our leaders as we see Pinero kind of close the gap a little bit as well. So interesting. I'm curious to know if maybe Chad and Pinero are running maybe a different fuel map than some of these other guys, different strategy perhaps is part of the reason why they're so far ahead. And because we saw Frankenfield especially had to pit super early, so I'm kind of wondering if he was going hard on fuel map 1, using the most fuel he can. Some of these guys farther back are going to be playing a little bit different.
And I think that could be a great observation. Is Chad Frankenfield obviously to get on the go pedal a little harder than he had to through that first stint. So did he burn more gas than what he did in the first stint, trying to hold off Adriano Pinero, and then that the same can be said for Pinero. We don't know how hard he was going on that go pedal, as we see the battle there for 11th and 12th between Victor Del Porta and Simpson. Del Porta has the spot. Simpson wants it, as we do see a change at the top there, Nick, as Adriano Pinero was finally able to get around Chad Frankenfield. And the reason for that is, as we just mentioned, Chad Frankenfield is the first car to get to the second round of pit stops. So that's going to tell us a lot, that you're going to see some of those leaders come down to pit road shortly. But getting back to the thought there on Pinero, we don't know how hard he was going on that go pedal in that first stint. And then, we know how hard he was going on the second one. He was trying everything within under the sun there to try to get around Chad Frankenfield, just couldn't do it. So how much gas was burnt there trying to get around Chad Frankenfield? So I would have to assume here, Nick, that as we see him get down at the bottom of the track there, is Pinero going to come in this time? It does not look like it. So he's going to stay out. He's going to try to get lead as many laps as he can before coming into the pits, because like we talked about in that first series of stops, Adriano is going to try to get every point. He's going to try to milk every point that he can, because he needs to cut into that 28 point lead that Jason Brophy holds over his head. And that's what Pinero is doing right now, as we just got to lap 100 of 248. Adriano Pinero showing the way, but that second round of stops for those leaders is going to be coming here in a matter of moments.
Yeah, one thing I'm looking at too is, I was hoping that graphic would show it a little differently, but the lack of fall off so far tonight. We started off, so, like Pinero, for example, his best lap is a 24.73, and his last lap was a 24.80, and that's 50 laps on those tires. So these tires not really falling off at all. That's kind of interesting. There's no benefit to kind of short pitting and gaining a tire advantage, it seems like.
No, I think you're absolutely right. Looking at that data right there, so obviously every ounce of fuel that can be put in these cars is going to be crucial, but tires may not be as crucial as the fuel strategy here this evening. Is Adriano Pinero going to try to stretch that fuel strategy out as far as he can before he needs to bring it in? And I'm kind of interested in this this strategy here, because we obviously we've seen how hard Pinero, as we just mentioned, was going to try to get around Frankenfield, and he just couldn't pull it off. So it makes me wonder how much fuel he did burn trying to make that pass, that he's able to extend this stint here to a few extra laps than he did on stint one, as we are now at lap 104 of 248. Adriano Pinero, one of the two drivers in contention for that points championship this evening, is leading the point. As we see, he is coming down pit road, so he's going to be one of the next takers to get maybe a new set of tires and fill that tank up there with gas, as we see a few others now doing the same thing. So I would imagine, as we have our first caution of this evening, we have a car that is backed into the outside retaining wall and shot back down to the inside, as we see the pace car come flying by. Nick, first, who was that? Whose machine is that? And two, do we have a replay on that?
It looks like it was the 10 machine of Jared Rexing, and this could throw a wrench on strategy, because I think this is going to trap some guys a lap down, as our leader Pinero just hit pit road. See if we can pull up a replay, see what happened to Rexing here. Like coming off pit road. Little wheel spin somewhere down here. Oh, yeah. Oh, and I don't know if that was Chad or Hunter Smith, but I think that was Hunter Smith. We'll take a look, see what he sees coming around here. Luckily, nobody else seemed to be involved in that. Wow.
Well, it looks like from that in-car camera there that Hunter Smith was just able enough to miss hitting Jared Rexing. We'll go through that one more time here, but it looks like Hunter Smith was able to keep the car down just enough to miss what could have been a broadside collision there with Jared Rexing. So it looks like it was just a one car incident there. Adriano Pinero. Now things may get interesting as you see the standings there, the timing and scoring on the side. With Adriano Pinero, and then now you have Victor Del Porta, and I seen over in chat earlier that the Victor Del Porta gang is here, so they got to be excited to see Victor up to P2, and just lurking behind Adriano Pinero. Not only is Simpson, but the points leader, Jason Brophy. So obviously that can't bode well for Adriano Pinero. Currently, Chad Simpson in the number 42 machine for Satellite Racing is third. And then fourth is Jason Brophy, the number 88 machine for Private Label Team Hype. And then the leader of the race for the majority of the race so far, the first car to pit in the second stint is Chad Frankenfield. He has found his way back up to P5. So, Nick, things could get quite interesting here with not only the leaders of the race, but the points there as well, as we see both contenders now have slowly crept and found their way into the top five. And we are at lap 107 of officially 248 this evening.
Yeah, and we talked about it a little earlier. You saw it right there, the benefit of kind of running a little long. Looks like our top four, Nero, Del Porto, Simpson, and Brophy, as you kind of mentioned, they kind of waited to pit. That caution came out. They were able to pit under caution, and fifth on backs is going to have to stay out, take the wave around. So just going to shuffle things around a little bit. Huge benefit to Del Porto and Chad Simpson, up 13 spots from where they started. So that strategy worked out great for them. We'll see if they're able to hold the track position. We go green here next time by. But yeah, this could be huge for a couple of these guys.
Yeah, it absolutely could. And the gamble there, as you mentioned, by Adriano Pinero could have paid off, as he was able to extend that stint there to a few more laps than what he did in the first go around, and the caution may have fallen right in his lap, literally, because he was able to cycle. He was able to go through, complete his second stop, and still have the race lead. So good fortunes right now so far for Adriano Pinero. Let's do a field rundown here as we're in our first caution at lap 108. Race leader, Adriano Pinero, right there in the number 56 machine. Behind him in second position currently is Victor Del Porta in the number 27 racing machine there. Following Del Porta in third is the number 42 entry of Satellite Racing's Chad Simpson. And then in P4, current points leader, Jason Brophy in the Private Label Hype, Team Hype 88 machine. And then rounding out the top five was the driver that grabbed the pole position this evening, Chad Frankenfield in the number 15 Little Eagle Racing. And we are now back underway. So the battle continues up front, not only for the race lead, but for the points championship, as well as Jason Brophy up one more rung of that ladder. And like I said, that can't be boding well for Adriano Pinero. Currently, he has done everything, Nick, so far to try to cut into that points lead. Obviously, he had to make up 29 points to become the series champion. And I would imagine, without an updated tally right now, where things sit currently, Adriano Pinero, that's just not going to quite be enough because Jason Brophy has, as you said earlier, kept his nose clean, just quietly crept his way through the field, picked off one car at a time, and he is now just one position away from Adriano Pinero this evening.
Yeah, great timing for Adriano Panera on that caution, but unfortunate for him, it also benefited his championship rival, Jason Brophy, championship leader Jason Brophy as well. So, unfortunate, didn't really gain a whole lot other than the lead, which, I mean, could end up being huge, but I think ultimately he wants to kind of see Brophy get the wrong end of the deal on that one. But both of them kind of benefited from that caution.
Yeah, obviously there is no doubt that Adriano Panera wants to put as many positions that he can between himself and current points leader Jason Brophy. But right now, as the way things stand, that just is not the case with Jason Brophy in the steps of Adriano Panero and potentially within reach of that series championship. We are lap 112 of 248. Adriano Panero showing the way in P1. Victor Del Porto right behind him, followed by, again, the aforementioned Jason Brophy. Pole winner Chad Frankenfield is fourth, and Chad Simpson right there in fifth. As we mentioned earlier, this is the series finale, and a huge thank you goes out to all of our sponsors here on the Elite Racing Network that make it possible to bring such great racing, great action to your living room, to your office, week in and week out. First, a hat tip and huge thank you goes to the series sponsor, Warriors for Peace. Warriors for Peace is a foundation promoting peaceful change in the world to honor the beautiful life of Jack Shockley. Please go check out warriorsforpeace.org, all one word, warriorsforpeace.org, for more information today. Also, one of our premier partners here on the Elite Racing Network is Blue Egg Marketing. Blue Egg Marketing, the marketing department for all small businesses. Their motto is, we're your marketing department. For small business owners, Blue Egg is going to be your biggest fan. Constraints, catalyst, creativity, and Blue Egg is here to help businesses punch through their weight class. Also, too, a huge thank you to where we're at this evening, Worldwide Technology Raceway. Worldwide Technology Raceway, formerly Gateway International Raceway and Gateway Motorsports Park, is a motorsports racing facility in Madison, Illinois, just east of St. Louis, Missouri, and oh so close to the Gateway Arch. It features a 1.25 mile oval that hosts not only NASCAR Cup Series races, NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series races, and the NTT Indycar Series. Worldwide Technology Raceway also has a 2-mile infield road course that is used by Speed Tour Trans Am, SCCA, and the Porsche Club of America. They also have on the grounds there a 1/4-mile NHRA sanctioned drag strip that hosts the annual NHRA Camping World Drag Racing Series Midwest Nationals event. And don't forget, for all the kids out there, the Kartplex, a state-of-the-art karting facility. So if you're ever in around Madison, Illinois, or St. Louis, Missouri for that matter, go check out Worldwide Technology Raceway. And then the sponsor for tonight's race, IndyCar1909.com. IndyCar1909.com, past, present, and future. Back on the track here, 120 of 248 laps are complete, and things are tightening up just a little more. Adriano Panero leads the point, but not too far in his tracks, ladies and gentlemen, is the current points leader, Jason Brophy. Chad Frankenfield, who captured the pole for this evening's race, is third. Victor Del Porto, with a huge fan club in chat this evening, is fourth. And Chad Simpson round out your top five. Nick, I know we're 122 laps into this. What are some of your thoughts so far as each lap ticks down one by one?
Yeah, I think my main thought is now that Panera has control of this race, I think it's going to be tough to take it away from him. We saw him work and try to take control from Chad Frankenfield, and Chad and Jason Barofi are second and third right now. But I think it's going to be a tall task to take control away from Panera. But yeah, that caution kind of broke things up a little bit. We'll see what the strategy is now for these drivers. Caution came about a lap 100 in the middle of a pit cycle, so might change up their strategy to get to the end of this thing.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. It definitely will change everybody's way of thinking there for sure. But I think you're absolutely right. Adriano Pinero did everything he could earlier in the race to try to get around Chad Frankenfield, and to Chad's credit, he did a tremendous job defending that P1 position. But Pinero was able to finally get around Frankenfield when Chad relinquished the lead there to start that second stint of pit stops. And now Pinero, he got the caution flag to fall his way. And obviously in racing, you do need a little bit of luck. And that is what Pinero got this evening. But on the flip side of that, he's looking for a little more luck because he's trying to capture the series championship that's going to be awarded this evening. And the leader of the points currently, Jason Brophy, who sits right behind him, just 2.4 seconds off the pace. So, as much as Adriano Pinero is excited about leading this race here, obviously we still got 122 laps left to go here. He's got to have that pit in his stomach. It's got to be churning because he knew coming into this that he needed Jason Brophy to get a bad finish. And again, that still may be possible. We both hope that doesn't happen. But currently, the way things sit, Pinero has done everything within his power to try to cut into that points lead. 28 points that Brophy had coming into tonight's race. But if things continue to fall the way they are, Adriano Pinero, Nick, is just going to come up a little bit short.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Jason Brophy kind of methodically working his way up through the field, and now up to P2, so he's only got one more position to go. And yeah, I mean, just like we've seen from Brophy kind of all year long, just quietly hanging in there, and hopefully gonna end up with a good finish in this thing. He's starting to close in a little bit actually on Pinero, a gap under 2 seconds now.
Yeah, Jason is doing everything with everything that he needs to do to not only to keep his nose clean, but to hold that points lead, and he'll be able to climb out of the car this evening as long as he doesn't put it into the wall or somebody backs into him. He's going to be able to climb out of that car tonight and call himself series champion. As we see Chad Frankenfield now, he's trying to become a player in the top three. Him and Pinero, obviously earlier, as we mentioned, we're great racing, great clean racing there up towards the front. But Frankenfield now kind of lost a little bit of track position. He is back to P3, but he's trying to climb his way back up towards the front. Hopefully he gets to, because again, earlier, like you just mentioned, Nick, it was great, hard, clean racing there between both the respected competitors, with Chad Frankenfield and current race leader Adriano Pinero.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see if Chad's going to be able to work his way back up there. This is really the first time all night, I mean, that he's been in dirty air, so we'll see how that affects his ability to run with Pinero and Brophy here, able to work his way around him. We saw Pinero kind of struggle with that, trying to get around Chad earlier, so we'll see if now that the shoe's on the other foot, we'll see if Chad's able to take advantage.
Yeah, definitely worth noting there for sure. Top 10 rundown here as we sit at 133 of 248 laps. First, Adriano Pinero, followed by points leader Jason Brophy. Pole position winner this evening, Chad Frankenfield, is third. Victor Del Porta is fourth. Chad Simpson is fifth. Logan Forsythe is sixth. Tyler Fody 7th, Nicholas Sudik 8th, Ethan Stanley 9th, and Eric Troiano round out your top 10. So like I said, we are at lap 134 of 248 laps, just slowly ticking away there. We are getting closer and closer to crowning that series champion. Jason Brophy doing everything that he needs to do, just like we mentioned, keeping his nose clean, trying to get a consistent finish. Obviously he's going to try to go for the lead. But even if he doesn't get the lead, if he's going to stay right where he's at there in the top 5, that's going to be well more than enough that he's going to need to bring that, able to carry that championship there over the finish line in due time. But still a lot of racing left to go. A lot of things still to be done here before we drop the checkered flag on this season. And Nick, what a season it has been. A lot of multi-winners. We have the two guys gunning it out for points. They both had consistent finishes all year. Both of them recorded 4 wins along with 3 pole position awards as well. So, kudos to both of those drivers for the show that they have put on. But as a whole, I think it goes without saying, huge thank you to all of the drivers that participated in these Elite Racing Network races, from IndyCar to everything else that has been ran here in this 2024 season.
Yeah, as you mentioned, both of them kind of proving why they're 1 and 2 in the standings currently. Both of them keeping the car clean tonight, and it just shows why they have such a large points gap back to Stanley in 3rd.
Yes, it absolutely does, and we've had great hard racing all year. We haven't really had a lot of, if any, that I can remember, dirty racing, which obviously that makes for great racing, and the competitors enjoy it because they know what they're going to get from each driver week in and week out. I know you being a part of the Indianapolis 500 on the Elite Racing Network here this year as well. That's got to be one of the highlights. I know that is one of mine, being able to call the Indianapolis 500 with all of the other elite announcers here on the network. And I'd fail to mention obviously being able to call a race with IndyCar radio host extraordinaire Mark James. I know him in real life. I've had many interactions with Mark. He's been on the Push to Pass podcast, and I can talk about that here in a minute. But that's got to be the highlight, I think, of my season here as a play-by-play guy, is being able to call the Indianapolis 500 with the elite crew that was there, along with Mark James.
Yeah, unfortunately I was on the sidelines for that one, but I did watch the broadcast. It was a great race all around, and great job all done by all you guys and the sponsors. I mean, it was really enjoyable to watch. You guys, as you mentioned, along with some of the real world announcers come in, and that was just awesome.
Yeah, definitely love that. Look forward to being able to bring coverage of that here next year as well. But before we get to that, we obviously have some unfinished business here to attend to. We are at lap 144 of 248, so we are creeping close to that 100 lap marker. And Adriano Pinheiro, again, still showing the way here. Points leader Jason Brophy still second. Pole position winner this evening, Chad Frankenfield, is back up to third. Victor Del Porto has slipped down to fourth, and Chad Simpson round out your top 5. So again, more of the same here as we look through the raceway here. A lot of nose to tail racing, as we see car right there getting a little close, trying to make a pass, but nose to tail, you see a car step out and make a pass right there at the start finish line. I believe that was Gavin Hobbs there going for the ninth position over Nicholas Sudik. So falling in line here, um, trying to catch those top or front two, potentially front three cars, and doing it single file is really the only way around the oval here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Is the way to go here. As we're down to almost, Nick, 100 laps before we find out who is the race winner. But most importantly, what everyone's been racing for all season, who is going to be who can call themselves series champion. We are now at that 100 lap left mark, and Adriano Pinero again holding court there in P1. But his worst nightmare is seeing Jason Brophy in his rear view mirror in position 2, because if things hold, and I would venture to say we probably have, without any cautions, maybe one stop left here as we're under 100 laps. If things hold serve, Adriano Pinero is going to win the race. As they say, Adriano Pinero may win the day, but Jason Brophy is going to win the war.
That'll be interesting. Yeah, this one closes out as we see watch the battle for third here. Chad Simpson trying to get around Victor Del Porto, and Fodi lurking right there as well. Three-car battle, third position. Like Del Porto's going to third and fourth, back to fifth as Fodi gets around him for P4.
Yeah, it just does seem like, maybe a lot of these guys are just kind of content to sit and ride where they're at, because if they try to get out of line and they don't have a run, they're going to get shuffled to the back and lose so much valuable track position. So some of these guys may be content with just sitting this out here and just riding along, as we are, like I said, under 100 laps to go, as they slowly start to tick away here from the Worldwide Technology Raceway. If we do have, Nick, another caution in between now and lap 248, let's go to our commercials. I know we've talked about our sponsors, but we would obviously we need to play their spots. So if we have a caution, let's go to that. If not, you may have to cut in to the racing here and get these spots in. But for the most part, Nick, it has been quite a caution-free race, except that only one caution there that was brought out single car by Jared Rexing, as we see the 91 machine there of Ethan Stanley getting his service and coming out of the pits. So maybe he is going off a different strategy here to try to find his way to the front.
And we did miss a couple cars pitting, like Chad Frankenfield, Justin Fortner. So the green flag pit stop starting. So I think after these guys cycle out, they are ad dues here to some of our league sponsors, long-time partners here. But yeah, green flag pit stop starting. Chad Frankenfield started off, and he was the first one to pit last time, so that's not a total surprise for that other caution.
Yeah, Chad has been the one out front to lead the pit stops. The first two, he started each cycle, and then he may have started this one as well. I know there was a host of other cars, as you mentioned, came in as well for service. So Chad may have been the individual to lead this round of pit stops again. Lap 156, 157 now of 248. As we see another few cars dive down to the bottom of the track to enter to get maybe their last service there as well. Adriano Pinero still holding point, as we see the number 40 machine, Tyler Fodi. He's going to come in and make maybe his final stop. Number 99 rather, Craig Forsyth, the 4D racewear machine, coming in for potentially his last stop as well, as we see points leader there, Jason Brophy and Adriano Panero coming in both at the same time. So this last stint there, Nick, definitely going to be worth the watch here, because you're going to have points 1 and 2 are going to be almost identically close to each other on the track when they both come out of the pits.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this shakes out. They're going to have one more stop on tonight, so we'll see how they execute these last couple pit stops here. As guy takes over the lead we haven't really talked much about tonight. 42, Chad Simpson. But that last caution worked out for both him and Del Porto. As you see Simpson come down pit road, Del Porto take over the lead. So these guys able to hang that track position, keep it up there relatively well. I think they're hanging out at the tail end of the top 5. So kind of that strategy worked out for them big time. They're able to get that track position, hold it through this green flag run. Now the last 2 cars to pit. Del Porto, he's coming in now. Troiano follows him, and he does. See how this cycles out here. Leaders like Panero is able to cycle out in front of Brophy. We'll see what the interval was. It was about 3 seconds before the stop. About 4 now, so maybe Panero able to stretch it out just a little bit on Jason Brophy.
Yeah, I think you are right that he was able to stretch the lead out there a little bit, as we see Eric Troiano and Victor Del Porta coming in. So they're going to relinquish the lead. And as we cycle back through at lap 161, you're going to see Adriano Panero back there at the point, and he is going to come out with about a 4-second lead there on Jason Brophy. Big move right there by Gavin Hibbs. He has moved up to P3. Tyler Fode up to P4, and Victor Del Porta there in P5. Round out your top 5 at lap 162. And again, Adriano Panero, you see out there on the point with a 4-second lead over Jason Brophy, a 7-second lead over Gavin Hibbs, 8 seconds back to Tyler Fode, 9 seconds back to Victor Del Porta. So Panero out there on a Sunday drive, trying to collect his 5th victory of this season, which is an amazing feat. I think for one driver to win that many races, in a 12 race schedule. One would think, if you look at that, and if we were to tell you that one driver is going to win 5 races and come up short potentially when it comes to the points championship, Nick, I think you would probably call us crazy.
Yeah, I didn't even know that, so that's a pretty impressive stat. I mean, to win about 50% of the season, essentially. Come up short is pretty incredible. I'm not sure if he missed some races or just had some bad weeks, but yeah, I mean that's pretty wild stat.
Yeah, it absolutely is. But I think the outline to to that statistic right there just tells you how great of driving that Jason Brophy has done this year as well. Because coming into this race, he matched Adriano Panero win for win. They both came in with 4 victories and 3 pole awards. So we praise we praise Adriano Panero for his driving and collecting 4 wins in this season, potentially 5 depending on what the outcome of this race is.
Looks like Panero crashed.
That does look like it. Oh, what a major hit this takes to the points championship, as Adriano Panero into the wall, brings out the second caution, and this, ladies and gentlemen, may have just handed the points championship over to Jason Brophy, depending on how he finishes. But Nick, let's take a look at the replay.
That looks like potentially all by himself here, going in turn 3 and 4. Oh, looks like maybe the bumps will set the car a little bit. Man.
Yeah, what a heartbreak for Adriano Pinero. As you see, coming into turns 3 and 4, the car got upset just a smidge, and that sent the back end around, hits the outside retaining wall, and that drops uh, Adriano Pinheiro all the way down to 13th position. So what a hit for you, Adriano Pinheiro fans out there with 168 of 248 laps to go. Two of your worst nightmare scenarios have now just happened. One, Adriano Pinheiro could not keep his nose clean. The back end of his car slips out. He hits the outside retaining wall. And nightmare scenario number 2, Nick, is the man that's on point, Jason Brophy.
Yeah, it might have been an announcer's jinx on our part up here talking about him winning all these races a couple laps ago, but yeah, I mean, just like, what a quick turn of events, just like that, and that just goes to show how sensitive these cars are. One bump, one corner where you're just not paying full attention, maybe, or maybe your weight jacker's not set exactly where you need it, and that's all it takes in these cars is one corner, one bump, and your race is over. We'll see if he's able to fix that car. It didn't look like he hit too bad. We'll see if they're able to slap a new wing on that thing and him keep going. But control of the race is gone for the fix machine.
Yeah, it absolutely is, and maybe that is the announcer jinx. Maybe that's on us. As you see, a handful of cars coming down pit road. One of them again is Adriano Pinero. If you are just joining us, first, shame on you for that. But Adriano Pinero up to lap 168 was running a perfect race. He was running a race to not only win the race itself, but to put himself in contention for the season-long points championship. But how the tables have turned. Adriano Pinero coming into turns 3 and 4. The back end of that car gets loose. It sends him, he tries to hit on the brakes as hard as he could, but unfortunately just ran out of room. He taps the outside retaining wall, and it drops him all the track position from first to 14th now, with 169 of 248 laps complete. And the series points leader now has found himself in position number 1, and that is Jason Brophy. And all Jason is going to do now is just continue to pad that lead. Now, is he going to be able to keep his nose clean for these next series of laps? Because if he can, he will be able to call himself a series champion. But sitting behind Jason Brophy is Chad Frankenfield, who has been oh so close so many times this season, but he's had one mechanical failure or wreck after another that just couldn't quite have him bring home one of those trophies and wins. Behind Chad Frankenfield is Tyler Fody in P3. He's looking to garner some momentum going into the off season. Following him, I know we had him in the chat there earlier. Not sure if they're still there, Nick, but the Del Porta gang, Victor Del Porta, right there in P4. He's hungry for a race win here to cap off his season. And then in 5th place currently, Ethan Stanley, just like those other drivers. He is hungry for a win as well. So we are in caution 2. That is our second caution of the day. Nick, let's slide over and go pay some bills here. And we will be right back here after this commercial break.
The Bomarito Automotive Group 500 at Worldwide Technology Raceway is not just a race. It's a spectacle. Friday, August 16th and Saturday, August 17th. The race everyone talks about, the Bommarito Automotive Group 500, only at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Go to www.traceway.com now, because the first deal is the best deal. Brought to you in part by the Illinois Office of Tourism and Discover Downstate Illinois.
As we come off turn 4, green flag is back out here at the Indycar 1909.com 500. Jason Brophy takes control of the race. Tyler Fode actually in second. Chad Frankenfield actually came down pit road while we were under commercial there.
As I see, we are back. I'm sorry, Nick. I see that we are back underway here at lap 172. And showing the way is Jason Brophy. Then it is Tyler Fode, Victor Del Porta, Ethan Stanley, and Eric Troiano. Round out your top 5. Definitely, if you are in the Madison, Illinois, or St. Louis area towards the race weekend, go check out the Bommarito Automotive Group 500 there from Worldwide Technology Raceway. I am a huge fan of oval racing when it comes to the NTT IndyCar series, and how exciting was it, Nick? Watching the real Indianapolis 500 there just a few weekends ago. There, the last 50 laps of that race was unbelievable between Alexander Rossi and Pato Award, and then the eventual winner and back-to-back champion Joseph Newgarden. But if you love oval racing and you love what you witnessed, especially those last 50 laps of the Indianapolis 500, then I would highly suggest either tuning in or getting your rear end to the Bommarito Automotive Group 500 there at Worldwide Technology Raceway in Madison, Illinois.
Yeah, it should be a good one for sure. And I'm a big NASCAR fan, but I always tune in for the Indy 500. So I was pulling for Pato there at the end. So I mean, just the stories and the heartbreak that goes with the races. I mean, it just makes it so entertaining to watch, and the strategy involved. I mean, it truly is probably the greatest spectacle of racing. So Gateway coming up next week, should be another good one, similar to what we're seeing tonight, probably. That always seems to put on an exciting race, no matter the series, IndyCar, NASCAR. Any series that goes there, it's always a fun track to watch.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And I love when IndyCar would do Worldwide Technology Raceway at night. And I'm of the opinion, and I think there's a lot of other people within the IndyCar community that share this opinion as well, that IndyCar should go to a few more night races. I know they have a night race in Iowa this year with a doubleheader, and they may have one in Milwaukee because of the doubleheader there as well. But you talk about some of those liveries that those Indy cars have when the stadium lights are shining on them. I think they're just sharp as can be. But getting back to the 500, as you mentioned, what a heartbreak it was for Pato Award. He did everything humanly possible to win the Indianapolis 500, obviously just coming up, as he said in his interview there, just 2 corners short. I thought, and again, I have no right whatsoever to judge Pato Award's decision-making on that last lap by any stretch of the imagination, but I thought he kind of jumped the gun there a little bit too early when he passed Newgarden. He gave Newgarden too much momentum and too much track left to make that pass eventually for the win. But heartbreak again for Pato Award. This is the second time in 3 years that Pato Award has finished as the bridesmaid to the Indianapolis 500. And then if you remember last year, he was either leading or towards the front of the pack with about 8 laps to go before he took an aggressive move, which ended up putting him in the outside wall, I think, coming into turn 3. So, Pato Award and the whole Arrow McLaren team, they're right there. And you could see, if you watch that post-race interview with Pato Award, you could tell the frustration and the absolute heartbreak on that young man from obviously running the perfect race, but again, as he alluded to there, just coming up 2 corners short. All right, getting back to the action on the track. We are at lap 183. We are officially running 248 this evening, and not much has changed there towards the top. It is Jason Brophy, Tyler Fode, Victor Del Porta, Ethan Stanley, and Eric Troiano round out your top 5. If you're looking for Adriano Pinero, well, we have some bad news for you. He was the race leader up until about 6 laps ago when his car, the back end, stepped out on him. He tried as best he could to try to save that car, but unfortunately he tapped the outside retaining wall and dropped him from first place down to currently 16th, and he's pitted again. So a frustrating night there for Adriano Pinero. He was seeking to win the points championship, the season-long points championship, but I think ultimately, Nick, that is all but wrapped up here. Now, that's not saying, again, I know we jinxed Pinero earlier, but if Jason Brophy, if things stay the way they are, he keeps his nose clean, and he just finishes ahead of Adriano Pinero. He doesn't have to win, but if he just finishes ahead of Adriano Pinero, when this checkered flag falls, Nick, Jason Brophy is going to be able to get out of the car and call himself a series champion.
Yeah, closing in on 60 laps to go here, so not much farther for Brophy here. And at this point, like you mentioned, they're out of the race. I don't think anybody can outpoint them. Yeah, either of them for that matter. So these guys just looking to close out the season on a strong note here. Tyler Fode falling back from Brophy, so Brophy's still got a lot of pace on the 88 machine. It's gonna be tough to go up there and get him. One thing I thought was interesting before we went back green is I think Chad Frankenfield came back down pit road from, he's running about 5th or so. So maybe getting a little extra fuel top off, save some time. I'm not sure what was going on there, but I thought that was interesting. Give up all that track position. Pit right.
Yeah, I think you're right. That definitely is a lot of track position to give up. So kind of curious to know what the mindset there is of Chad Frankenfield, who actually currently sits P9 with just 189 of 248 laps left. So we are slowly ticking away lap by lap, and every lap that we run, Jason Brophy just inching himself a little bit closer to that points trophy. Tyler Fode is 3 seconds behind there in second. Victor Del Porta, another 3 seconds behind in third. Ethan Stanley in fourth, and Eric Troiano is your top 5. So not a lot of movement up there in the top 5. A lot of track position in between all 5 of those spots, running nose to tail there, staying in line, not stepping out, just looking for that consistent finish there, ending up to finish the race, to get a little bit of momentum and to feel good about yourself heading into to this off season here for the 2024A IndyCar series. Again, I know we've mentioned it throughout the broadcast, but I don't think we can mention it enough. How thankful, Nick, that we are to be able to bring these races to everyone in their homes, offices, on their phone, wherever you may watch the Elite Racing Network. And if it wasn't for these sponsors here that you see up on your screen, Race In and Race Out, and all of the announcers thank on a daily basis when these races take place, you would not be able to see us here. Obviously, first, you got to look at the series sponsor, Nick, and if you're just tuning in for the first time, this IndyCar series is sponsored by Warriors for Peace. Warriors for Peace is a foundation promoting peaceful change in the world to honor the beautiful life of Jack Shockley. Go check out warriorsforpeace.org, all one word, warriorsforpeace.org, for more information today. A huge thank you to one of our premier sponsors, our premier partners of the Elite Racing Network is Blue Egg Marketing. Blue Egg Marketing is the marketing department for and tailored for small businesses. We're your marketing department. Small business owners, Blue Egg is your biggest fan. Constraints catalyze creativity. We help businesses punch above their weight class. Huge thank you to Blue Egg. Also, tonight we are at the Worldwide Technology Raceway, which, if you don't know, is a sponsor of this broadcast as well. Worldwide Technology Raceway, formerly Gateway International Raceway and Gateway Motorsports Park, is a motorsports racing facility in Madison, Illinois, just east of St. Louis, Missouri, and those famous Gateway Arch. It features a 1.25 mile oval that hosts the NASCAR Cup Series, NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, and the NTT Indycar Series. They also have a 2-mile infield road course used by Speed Tour Trans Am, SCCA, and the Porsche Club of America. Also, don't forget about their quarter-mile NHRA-sanctioned drag strip that hosts the annual NHRA Camping World Drag Racing Series Midwest Nationals event. And then for the tykes out there, or the little adults or kids, it is the Kartplex, a state-of-the-art karting facility. So any of your race needs are covered when you go to the Worldwide Technology Raceway. And then sponsor of this race here this evening on the Elite Racing Network is IndyCar1909.com. IndyCar1909.com, past, present, and future. So again, huge thank you to all of those sponsors that make it possible for us to bring you racing here on the Elite Racing Network. Nick, as we are down to just 47 laps to go, and Jason Brophy is slowly ticking that down one by one, keeping his nose clean and getting ever so close to tasting that series championship.
Yeah, these laps winding down real quick here. Jason Brophy took the lead and hasn't really looked back, just been stretching it out ever so slightly lap by lap over Tyler Fode. Really the closest battle on track back here. Third position, so between Bordeaux, Stanley, and Troiano. Third, fourth, and fifth at the moment. But as you mentioned, as we tick over, under 50 to go, we'll take one more quick commercial break as we believe we expect one more round of pit stops from these guys to close out this race.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
The Bommarito Automotive Group 500 at Worldwide Technology Raceway is not just a race, it's a spectacle. Friday, August 16th and Saturday, August 17th. The race everyone talks about. The Bommarito Automotive Group 500, only at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Go to www.traceway.com now, because the first deal is the best deal. Brought to you in part by the Illinois Office of Tourism and Discover Downstate Illinois.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to the Elite Racing and Network and the Warriors for Peace IndyCar Series, IndyCar 1909.com 500. We are now just down to about 39 laps to go, and Jason Brophy just ticking one lap off there at a time, inching closer to that series points championship. But Tyler Fode, he's got some time left to try to run Brophy down. Not sure if he's going to be able to do it. Victor Del Porta is also in the mix as well at P3. Ethan Stanley, P4. And then rounding out the top 5 is Eric Troiano. So a handful of cars up there still able to make some hay here, but they're going to have to do it rather quickly, Nick, because we are down to just 38 laps. So if anybody has anything for Jason Brophy, this may be the time to pull those aces out of their sleeves if they want an opportunity to win this race. As we see the leader there going off to pit road, which would presume his last round of stops. So you're going to see everyone else coming down pit road here shortly. But Jason Brophy, the leader, points leader, potential points champion, first car into the pits.
And these guys won't need quite a full tank of fuel, so these pit stops should be a little quicker. It's all going to be about who needs the least amount of fuel here, I believe, for these guys running a little bit closer back together. Tyler, Fode, Del Porto, Stanley.
Yeah, Nick. I would assume that's probably the right call there. You don't need to fill that tank all the way full because you only got 25. 25. Nope, 35. Sorry, math was a little off there. You only got 35 laps to go, so yeah, you got to fill that tank completely full. I would assume that it's probably 3/4 full, so you may see a little bit faster cars. As we see other cars now ducking it down to pit road to make their final stop. Ethan Stanley there giving up a little bit of track position in the number 91 machine for Lake Norman Motorsports. He's going to come in and get his last round of stops, potentially tires and a little bit of fuel there as well, with Brody giving up the lead there. Tyler Fode is at point. Obviously, he has not come in to pit yet, so he's going to try to stretch this sequence out as far as he can until he needs to come down for service. Following him, again, Victor Del Porta, Eric Troiano, and Butch Davis are all in that mix as well. And then you see, Nick, right there, we talked about it, going off strategy there a little bit, Chad Frankenfield. Now, he may be able to stretch this out a little bit because he came in a little earlier than everyone else did. I know we were kind of scratching our heads up here as we do see it is now official, Nick, if you missed it, on the timing and scoring, that the 56 machine of Adriano Pinero is officially out of the race. So I think that would pretty much wrap things up here for Jason Brophy, as long as he is able to keep his nose clean and finish this race. And Nick, I think we're going to be talking to the series champion here in just a few laps from now. But Tyler Fode, again, like I said, he is out on point. He's going to try to stretch this out as far as he can. But I'm kind of curious to see if Chad Frankenfield, if and when, Nick, he has to come in for that last stop, because he went off sequence a little bit. So interested to see how far he can stretch this out.
Yeah, it looks like, looking at that pit strategy, bring that back up, pit strategy ticker I was just looking at, looks like Frankenfield pitted about 2 laps later than some of these guys, so maybe able to stretch it out a little bit longer. I thought he went way off cycle, but it doesn't look like he did. You're not going to be able to go quite as long. But yeah, I think the strategy for these guys is kind of run as long as you can. As we saw earlier, you catch that caution. Chad come down now, actually. But yeah, I think the strategy was for these guys to run it as long as you can, because we saw earlier for Jason Brophy and some of those guys, Chad Simpson, catch that caution, it could play huge, especially towards the end of this race. But it doesn't look like that's the case.
Yeah, we thought, maybe Chad would kind of stretch things out a little longer due to the fact that, he came in 2 laps before the rest of the drivers did. But I think we can throw that out the window, obviously, because he is coming into pits. So Eric Troiano is at the point, followed by Victor Del Porta. But keep in mind, those two drivers are still going to have to come in for service. But the big news I just mentioned there a few moments ago, Nick, was seeing Adrian Pinero officially out for this race. So as long as, again, the caveat, as we've talked about here at nauseum, as long as Jason Brophy in the number 68 machine is able to keep his nose clean for the next 26 laps, he is going to be our series champion. So we'll see here. We'll wait and give him his flowers when lap 248 ticks off the board. As you see, Brophy is cycled back through to P2 now. When Troiano does come to the pits, Brophy will cycle back through up to the race lead. And again, we gave praise to Adriano Pinero earlier, which may have jinxed him about him potentially collecting his 5th win of the season and not being enough to win the points championship. Well, I'm kind of hesitant, Nick, to maybe give this race win to Jason Brophy, just for the simple fact that when we were talking about Adriano Pinero, the back of the car steps out and he smacks the wall.
Yeah, in some of these races, I think the announcer's jinx is can be a real thing here. So the quickest things seem to happen. But yeah, coming down to the last 30 laps of this thing, we'll see if excuse me, I had to sneeze there. See if Brophy's able to close this thing out.
Yeah, I think the announcer, a thing, you see, you watch back on TV, and the announcers talk about, well, this player hasn't missed a foul shot in his last 25 shots at the free throw line, and what's the first thing he does? He misses. We talk about give flowers to Adriano Pinero earlier in the race, potentially going to win his 5th race, and then a few laps later, what's he do? He smacks the wall and ends up have to retire for this evening. So yeah, that I think those are two fine examples, Nick, of that announcer jinx that you talked about there. 24 laps to go. We are through our last cycle of pit stops for the night. And as predicted, Jason Brophy is out in front for almost 5 seconds now on Tyler Fode, followed by Ethan Stanley, Eric Troiano, Victor Del Porta round out your top 5. And then it is Butch Davis, Eric Smith, Chad Frankenfield, who had the pole for this race today. Forsythe is 9th, and then Nicholas Sudik rounds out your top 10 with just 22 laps to go. So, Jason Brophy, all he's got to do for these next 22 laps, Nick, keep the car straight, keep the nose clean, hit your marks, and you'll be able to not only say you're a race winner here at Worldwide Technology Raceway, Nick, but there's one more ultimate prize that Jason Brophy is driving for, and he is now just 21 laps away from clinching that.
Yeah, and that'd be a pretty impressive statement to not only win the championship, but do so by winning the final race of the season. So there's no question you're the champion of the Warriors for Peace IndyCar series here. But yeah, 20 laps to go. But as we saw with Pinero, no place is safe. Saw him wreck all by himself. So hopefully we don't jinx Brophy. Hopefully he's able to close this thing out the last 20 laps safely. But we'll see. As getting a little strung out here. I don't think there's real. I guess the closest battle on track is back here for 12th with Chad Simpson, Justin Fortner. Majority of the field kind of spread out at this point.
Yeah, don't want to as they say, count. Don't put the cart in front of the horse, or don't count your chickens before they're hatched. But Jason Brophy kind of extending his lead there, pushing it to 4.5 or 4.3 rather, 4.3 seconds over second place. Tyler Fody. So yes, we'll give Jason Brophy his flowers if he is able to hit his marks and keep his nose clean here for the last 18 laps, and then I'll feel a little better doing that instead of what we did earlier to Panero. But what a race Jason Brophy has ran, and if he does end up holding off the rest of the field and gets the race win tonight, what a way to cap his season. Obviously, with the amount of wins that he accumulated this year, and obviously winning the last race of the season, and then that cherry on top of the sundae, as they like to say in the dessert business, adding that series championship trophy to your trophy cases. We see the camera here, right on Jason Brophy and that number 88 machine. Private label team hype 88 green machine there reminds me a lot. That livery reminds me a lot. And again, I know you're a NASCAR guy, so this may be out of your realm, but they were actually in the news today in the NDT IndyCar series world. That paint scheme, that livery that Jason Brophy is running reminds me a lot of what the number 77 and 78 Chevrolets at Hukos Hollinger Racing run. They run that exact type of livery, exact type of paint scheme, that green or lime, I guess is maybe what it's called, with the infused black in it. I think it looks pretty cool, actually. You look at the lights gleaming off of that paint scheme, Nick, and that's what, again, that's why I talk about NASCAR, or excuse me, IndyCar running night races, because there are so many liveries that would pop, or as the cool kids like to say, would be fire, if run under the lights.
Yeah, that's the one thing really that I enjoy about watching the night racing too, especially on the NASCAR side when they used to actually paint the cars and it'd be a little more metallic looking. Some guys would paint them chrome and metallic, and they'd really, really shine in the lights, and I mean, it would just be awesome. It's just a different aesthetic. You can't really explain a different kind of vibe than the daytime racing. Kind of, sometimes the fireworks happen on the track at night too. Seems to bring out a different side of these drivers from time to time.
Yeah, you were talking about some of the drivers going with metallic paint scheme. Now, I know obviously IndyCar, I know IndyCar, and then I know NASCAR, they go with the wraps, the vinyl wraps. These days it's not really paint like it used to be. But there's one livery in IndyCar that I've seen this year that I think would absolutely pop under the lights, if it's a Worldwide Technology Raceway, or if it's coming up the Iowa doubleheader. I know Saturday's race doubleheader is at 8 p.m. And then there's a doubleheader in Milwaukee on Saturday night that's at 6 p.m. So, we could potentially see 3 IndyCar races under the lights, which excites me to no end. But there is a driver, and you're going to laugh when I tell you his name, but his real name is, and I'm not making this up, is Stingray Robb. We have 9 laps to go. Jason Brophy out in the lead, but Stingray Robb's livery for the Indianapolis 500 was a metallic gold and black, and I think that would really pop. Kind of like, it's not the metallic, or not metallic, but like a gold color. It's not as gold as like the Purdue Boilermakers gold, but it's gold enough to where, with the gold and the metallic black with the lights hitting off of it, I think that it reminds me of a Willy Wonka, and they put the golden tickets. Yeah, it does kind of, it is a little bit similar to the car that is up on screen right there. It may have a tad more black, Eric Troiano right there, but it does look like that a little bit, gold and metallic black there. But it reminds me, it's got the same gold color as the old Willy Wonka golden tickets. If you can remember those, those look like the original Willy Wonka, not the Johnny Depp Willy Wonka, but the original Willy Wonka. That's the kind of gold that was on that car. I thought that was a very cool delivery there. We're down to 7 laps to go. Jason Brophy slowly creeping his way to not only a race win, but a series championship. He is followed by Tyler Fode, Eric Troiano, Ethan Stanley, Victor Del Porta round out the top 5. Then it is Butch Davis, Eric Smith, Chad Frankenfield, Forsythe in 9th, and Nicholas Sudik round out your top 10 with just 5 laps to go. Again, as we as we end things, we can't thank our sponsors enough. I know we've mentioned them throughout the season. We've mentioned them throughout the broadcast this evening. But again, a huge thank you goes out to all of them, all of the hard work and time that they have put in to make this series, or make this broadcast and this series as fun, exciting, and competitive as it is. And obviously, without their sponsorship, there'd be no way for us to be able to pay for the internet and things of that nature. They're able to put this on. So huge thank you to them. Also, huge thank you to the racing sponsor this evening, IndyCar1909.com. Go check that out. And then I touched earlier, Nick, about the podcast that I do with 3 laps left to go. So I'm going to try to get this in as quickly as possible. It is called the Push to Pass podcast. We cover IndyCar races, news, previews, things of that nature. And then we also have a WordPress website as well that the articles and stuff go up on a daily basis. We go live Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, Rumble, and then Facebook as well. So if you go to Facebook, look up Push to Pass Podcast, YouTube, Push to Pass Podcast, give us a like, give us a subscription, and that's where you can find our shows live every Tuesday. Push to Pass Podcast covering IndyCar. Final lap as the white flag comes to fly. Jason Brophy just a few more corners away from picking up his 5th race win of this season, but more importantly, picking up that series points championship, coming off the final turn as you see the checkered flags flying. Jason Brophy, ladies and gentlemen, is your race winner this evening. The IndyCar 1909.com 500 race winner, Jason Brophy. But not only, folks, is Jason Brophy the race winner this evening, I can proudly say, Nick, Jason Brophy is the 2024A IndyCar Series champion.
Yeah, congrats to Jason Brophy. No question about that. We didn't have to wait for official results on that one. Winner of the race in the championship, Jason Brophy, close out our 2024A First for Peace IndyCar season.
Yep, and we see right there the front stretch is Brophy's going to let the cars go by. He's going to do a burnout, and it's probably going to be the biggest and longest burnout of his career. I can't imagine how excited this young man is, picking up his 5th victory of the season, and then collecting that series points championship there as well. While he goes around and does his victory lap there, Nick, let's run down the field as they finished. Obviously, Jason Brophy was your race winner, followed by Tyler Fode, Eric Troiano, Ethan Stanley, and Victor Del Porta round out your top 5. Then it was Butch Davis, Hunter Smith, Chad Frankenfield, Nicholas Sudik, and Craig Forsythe round out your top 10. Then it was Justin Fortner, Chad Simpson, Chad Samard, Mark Rebellis, Gavin Hibbs, Adriano Pinheiro, AJ Hobson, and Jared Rexing finish out your top 18. And then is there anyone else after that recorded a finish, Nick, or does that do it? There we go, right there. 19th was Justin Vandermarel. 20th, Nick DeGroot. That's interesting to see him down so far. And 21st was Johnny Thomas. So That rounds out your results there. I know Nick is hustling down to pit road there to pick up the podium finishers this evening. Jason Brophy, Tyler Fode, and Eric Troiano. Nick, have you gotten to either Fode or Troiano yet? Because I know Brophy's going to have a lot of celebrating to do before he's able to join us this evening.
Like we got second place Tyler Fode. I don't see Troiano. See if we second place finisher Tyler Fode up here.
All right, let's we'll have Nick will run down to Tyler Fode's pit, and we'll get connected with him as Nick just got there. Tyler, this is Derek in the booth. Second place finish this evening. You got to be excited about that from where you came from, or where you started from, to where you ended. Talk about your race a little bit.
Yeah, well, I knew I had the speed to kind of be up here in the top 3 to 5. I didn't qualify very well, and it is so hard to pass, um, especially on new tires when everyone's fast. Um, and I felt like I was making a good progress, and then I went one lap too long the initial run there, and I was out of gas, kind of coasting down the pits, so I lost all my progress. So I had to kind of work back for it. Um, and yeah, we just had that really long green run, just kind of worked a couple guys over one at a time, and then started hitting the pit cycles the rest of the way to get good position there. And I forget what yellow it was, but I had literally just come out of the pits when might have been the second to last or the last yellow. I had just come out of the pits when it happened, so that set me up pretty good. And yeah, then just kind of had to hit my marks and run my race, and just kind of ended up here.
Yeah, I think you're referring to that the second caution. There was only two of the night, and I think you're referring to the second one. But yeah, you're absolutely spot on. You were patient. You slowly, methodically picked your way through the field. Ended up with a second place finish here to finish off the season. So that's got to be a lot of momentum for you heading into to your next series. But anybody you want to thank? I know it's been a long season for you, but anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, well, shout out to Brophy first for getting the championship. That was pretty cool. Um, Finished second to him again for second straight week, but he's the real deal. So props to him. Shout out to Ethan Stanley, my teammate. We had a good. Both of us really had a great season. This was my first full-time attempt at it. I think this was his first, maybe second. And we ended up third and fourth there in the standings. And to be third and fourth behind Pinheiro and Brophy, I think is something to be proud about, because those guys are the best. Got to be some of the best on the service with this car. So shout out to them. Shout out to Stanley. And then also you guys up here for putting on these broadcasts each week.
Tyler, again, huge congratulations. Finishing second, it's not where you start, but where you finish. But finishing second this evening, and huge props to you. Great season. Love seeing your progress up here, and I can't wait to do it again.
Yeah, man, appreciate it. Take it easy.
That was your second place finisher this evening, Tyler Fode. Still waiting. I know Jason Brophy is probably down there celebrating in victory lane, so I know Nick will probably hustle down there to get him. I believe if memory serves me correctly, Nick did say that Eric Troiano is unavailable, if memory serves me correctly. So hopefully we're able to get the race winner and series champion up here, Jason Brophy. But I know he's, like I said, he's got a lot of business, obviously, to take care of before he's able to make his way up here. And Nick, who do we have now?
Like we got champion and race winner Jason Brophy on the booth.
Jason, tell me how this sounds. You are the 2024A IndyCar Series champion.
That was pretty good. Obviously, coming into tonight, that was the hope. Some things got a little weird in that race. I started it out great, botched qualifying completely, and then managed to recover long race, rode my way back up, got myself in position where it would have been close, but I could have won it. I would have won the title in second, and then I don't know what happened to the track in the middle of that race. So all of a sudden, we all started plowing. Track went up 20 degrees, and sadly, in the end, I think that got Panero out, caught him out. We hadn't really tested in that, so got loose and got sideways. And from then on, it was just all about winning, right? Because at that point, I knew the title was locked up, so it was time to hopefully bring it home. Was the only car that stayed out, but tires kind of wore equal to fuel, so I was able to get a big lead in that first run and then hold on for the second run. So it paid off. Real happy with the run today. Kind of wish I could have seen how it played out a little more natural. Feel bad for Panero. There's no one I'd rather have raced through this title against. He's a very respectable driver, like very respectful as anyone I've ever raced with. So, hate to see it end like that and a mistake during a period where we're all kind of scrambling. So.
Yeah, you kind of hit on what me and Nick talked about, especially from your point of view. Beginning of the race, you were out there, just running consistently, trying to keep your nose clean, and just to finish. Because if you were to finish and stay consistent where you were, I think that'd give you enough positions to hold the series championship. And I'd imagine your mindset had to have changed, Jason, when you got the news that Adriano Panero back end got loose coming into 3, and he ends up putting it in the outside retaining wall. I imagine you probably had to calm yourself down there a little bit.
Well, I mean, I definitely saw his car sitting there, but no, there was no calm at the beginning of the race. I think I had some help from Rob Malechka kind of spotting for me and helping me. There was no calm at the beginning of this race because there were a lot of scenarios in this that end up in a tie. 28 points with the double points. If Panero led the most laps, first to second, him not getting the pole was the reason I could finish second. If I finished third, he won the title. So, there was a lot of that, me trying to, especially watching him race Chad and knowing that if he got the lead, I had to go gain that 6 seconds back and pass Chad and be second. And it was nervous. The cautions kind of came out. I got both unfortunately, a little unlucky, but mostly lucky with where that caution came out because I got an EOL, but it only cost me 2 spots because of when everybody was pitting. Restarted fourth, got myself to second, was managing there. I think Hibbs would have been pretty quick. It would have been a question because if he got me while Panero was leading, at that point, Panero wins the title. So, I had that in the back of my brain, and then I come through 3 and 4, running the bottom, and there's Panero sitting there as the caution comes out. And that kind of big relief. Again, I hate to see it for him because we were all dealing with a track that jumped 20 some odd degrees Fahrenheit in the matter of a lap, and we lost 1 point something seconds. And I was real afraid of overstepping the bounds, but I kind of settled in. You just had to back way up. Losing a second all of a sudden in the middle of just coming out of the pits on fresh tires, and suddenly you're a second slower instead of going faster on your third or fourth lap. It was an experience, and it got him out. I nearly plowed the wall down in 1 and 2 a couple of times just because going to the corner and there's no grip. So, but yeah, so I was nervous most of the night, and that definitely kind of relaxed me so I could get back to just racing, going for the win now because that's all that really mattered. I had the title locked up with him being out. So.
Jason, it's been an amazing season. 5 wins, a series points championship as the cherry on top of the sundae. Who do you have to thank? Shout outs.
I want to thank Tommy and Ty for giving me the chance to race for private label Team Hype. I want to thank the folks over at Team Talent. There's been some movement in the IndyCar side. I've left them along with a bunch of us. We moved over to Power Slide, my new teammates at Power Slide as well. Rob Malechka helped me out in the box tonight, filled in a little, and then got distracted by Gen 4 at Sonoma. So, but I want to thank them a lot. So for helping me out, really do want to thank the guys at Team Talent for bringing me in 4 years ago. Now that we've moved on. Setting ourselves up with this pro thing coming. Not sure I'll be the one to make it, but a lot more of those right-hand turns that I had to survive through in this league and capitalize. But as a team, definitely going to make a big push here. So, and thanks Chad for putting on the league and you guys for broadcasting.
Jason, congratulations! Obviously, what a series, what a season for you, and Can't wait to see what bigger things are in store for you the next time I'm able to call your race out on the track.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was your race winner and series points champion, Jason Brophy. Nick, what a season and what a way to cap it off here at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Jason Brophy ends up winning the race, but ultimately he has one more item that he gets to check mark off, and that is a series points championship.
Yeah, just a great all around season by Brophy. You know, like you mentioned, 5 wins on the year. Um, or was it 5 wins you said? I might have got that wrong.
Yes, he ends up with 5 wins,
Okay, I was right.
and Adriano Pinero, not too shabby himself, ends up with 4 wins as well.
Yeah, I mean, just a dominant performance by both of them on the year. Come out here and looked like they were going to bring home a 1-2 tonight as well until Adriano Pinero ran into some trouble. But all in all, it's a great season. I don't know if you have any finishing thoughts here, but just shout out to all our sponsors and Chad for putting on the league. It's been a fun time broadcasting up here with you, Derek.
Yeah, Nick, I can't say it better myself. First, huge thank you to Chad and everyone else that makes it possible for people like me, people like you, and everyone else that is able to announce these amazing races here on the Elite Racing Network. Next, huge thank you to all of the sponsors that make it possible for all of us announcers to bring these races to everyone at home, office, telephone. Wow, cell phone, whatever device that they are watching these on. Huge thank you to the sponsors that allow us to do that on a week in and week out basis, and then also a huge thank you to Nick for the production of the video and audio this evening. Because if you had no video and you had to hear my voice for 2 hours, I can only imagine how much hair would be pulled out because you couldn't see the racing on the track. So, huge thank you to Nick for that. Can't wait to see what is in store next here for this IndyCar series. Obviously, I'll be back when that gets kicked off again, and I'm sure Nick will be around as well. So just keep checking Elite Racing Network to see when that series is going to kick off. And Nick, I'm going to turn it over to you, and you can take us on out of here.
Yeah, as we look to close out our 2024A IndyCar season, we hope to see you all back here later this fall for our B season. Sure, a lot of the same cast will be here, our driver wise. So yeah, you all enjoyed the show. Hopefully, for our other series, Derek mentioned, we got the Xfinity series, or Billis Photography Xfinity series running Monday night season finale, and then we also have the Cup series running Wednesday night their finale. So a couple more uh, series close out their seasons next week. So hope to see you there, and great night.